Good day, grade 12 learners. Welcome to today's business studies lesson. My name is Tsidiso Tlhaga, and today we'll look into presentation and data response, focusing largely on visual aid. The focus is on application questions, so we'll be looking into addressing or trying to respond to these application questions. The first part is now a scenario-based question which requires us to read the scenario below and answer questions that follow. We have Thokoza Family Fitness, and the scenario is read in the following way. The management of TFF, which is Thokoza Family Fitness, requested Mr. Chabalala to present the business financial statements to various stakeholders. He distributed printed material of his presentation at the start of his presentation. That is your scenario over there. Then the first question is now to identify the visual aid applicable in the scenario above and motivate your answer by quoting from the scenario. Then B now demands you to discuss the impact of the visual aid identified in question A. Now, the first part here is to identify the visual aid that Mr. Chabalala used in his presentation. So the first sentence tells you that the management of Thokoza Family Fitness requested Mr. Chabalala to present the business financial statements to various stakeholders. So there's no answer there. This is just a story about what the business was expecting Mr. Chabalala to do. So the last sentence, however, says to you, he distributed printed material of his presentation at the start of his presentation. So that is where you find your answer. Printed material. What do we mean by that? So your printed material should be this visual aid. Handout. Then how do you motivate that? He distributed printed material of his presentation at the start of his presentation. Now, you would be awarded 2 marks for this and 1 mark for motivation. Now let's talk about discussing the impact. Remember, with discussing the impact, you can provide positives only or negatives only, or a combination of both your positives and negatives. So what are the positives of using a handout in your presentation? Is that meaningful handouts may be handed out at the start of the presentation, as Mr. Chabalala has done that. But this is repetition because we saw it in the scenario. So this would be considered to be repetition because of that reason. And hard copies of the slide presentation can be distributed at the end of the presentation as a reminder of the key facts of the presentation. So that becomes correct. And then what are the negatives? Handouts cannot be combined with audio material, so it only focuses on visual aspects to support material. So that's a negative impact because some people would actually interact better with audio material, meaning a voice note maybe about what is being presented. And then handing out material at the start of the presentation may distract or make the audience to lose attention. Then let us look into another application question. Here you are expected now to identify the type of visual aid represented by each of the following statements. Statement A says to us, businesses use this visual aid for small groups during a brainstorming session. That is your statement A. And statement B says a special pen is used that allows the presenter to write on the board and capture the images on the computer. So the first statement talks to this visual aid. This is your flip. This is your flip chart, because it is used by a small group, and as you know, a flip chart is not a very big visual aid, so it would be appropriate for a small group during a brainstorming session so that ideas can be captured. And then a visual aid that has a special pen used to allow the presenter to write on it and capture the images on the computer. This would be your interactive. This would be your interactive whiteboard or a smart board. So those are your two visual aids that you should consider when you're looking into these two statements, and be able to know what each visual aid does and what is its positive impact or negative impact, so that you are in a better position to identify the visual aid from a statement or scenario. So with that being said, let us take a short break and we will continue shortly.